What's up, guys? I'm back, and today I'm going to be doing something completely different than what I usually do. As you can see, it's no webcam, just my voice, which is preferable to some people, and I'll be complimenting all 32 NFL teams. Now, disclaimer, yes, it is. I am really doing this because I was inspired a few years ago by 5 Point Vid's video of him roasting every single NFL team, so it will be similar in format, similar in look, just my voice with the pictures over it. And I'll just be complimenting and saying something good, at least 3 things good about every single NFL team. I will not be including anything from the pre-Super Bowl era. From the Super Bowl era onwards, it's all a free game for me to pick and choose and say nice things about these NFL teams. And yes, eventually I will do an NFL roast video similar to 5 Points Vids, because let's be honest, talking crap about NFL teams is way easier than trying to think of things to compliment them on.
First up is the AFC North.
Unlike the previous owners who fled in a Mayflower truck, Art Modell was adamant in having a football team in Baltimore and ran the model NFL franchise, a team which won a Super Bowl only 4 years into its existence. They also have only 8 losing seasons in their entire 25-year team history. They are also one of the only 2 teams that can say they have played in multiple Super Bowls and won them both. Ray Lewis is one of the best linebackers to have ever played the game of football and retired a champion thanks to Colin Kaepernick and Michael Crabtree choking when the 49ers needed them most.
Staying in the AFC North, we head to Pittsburgh.
The Steel Curtain was arguably the best defense of all time, with 4 Hall of Famers alone on that defense. The Immaculate Reception happened and is one of the best plays in NFL history. When asked off the bat, 4 people that come to mind when I think of the Pittsburgh Steelers are Terry Bradshaw, Ben Roethlisberger, Troy Polamalu, and Bill Cowher. All 4 of them have been extremely successful with the Steelers and are Hall of Famers. Under Mike Tomlin, the Steelers have never had a losing season and is on his own Hall of Fame pace in his own right. Nothing too spectacular about this one, but they had a quarterback that had one of the best names of all time.
And now, Cleveland.
There's not a lot to choose from their 1999 revival onwards, but the Cleveland Browns organization, particularly Paul Brown, was revolutionary in how the game was played, introducing the face mask back in the 1950s and invented the radio helmet that helped coaches and QBs communicate until they were outlawed just a few weeks later. A ban that stood in the NFL until they reversed that ban in 1994. Jim Brown was arguably the best running back to have ever played in the NFL and won the NFL MVP as a goddamned rookie. They now have a 2-headed monster in the backfield now with Kareem Hunt and Nick Chubb, which may not last much longer with Hunt requesting a trade. Please go to Buffalo.
Finishing off the AFC North, let's look at Cincinnati.
Alright, I'm not going to lie to you. The Bengals are another tough team to try and compliment, although they had some great players come through their organization. Boomer Esiason, Anthony Munoz, and Chad Ochocinco are some of the players that come to mind for me when I think about the Bengals. Ickey Woods also pioneered the touchdown celebration with his iconic Ickey Shuffle, which has become a staple. Touchdown celebrations, not the Ickey Shuffle. The Bengals have a bright future. Having made the Super Bowl last year, even though they lost it, it was still hilarious to see Tyler Boyd do this to Jalen Ramsey. He must have taken notes from Mike Evans in the Rams game.
With that finished, we can head down south. Starting off with the Titans.
Steve McNair and Warren Moon are only the tip of the iceberg when talking about great players in Tennessee Titans history. How about not just 1, but 2 running backs that have rushed for over 2,000 yards in a season? Chris Johnson had an unbelievable tenure with his Titans, but Derrick Henry has single-handedly broken all of Johnson's records in only 3 seasons as a starter. If he was healthy for the entire season in 2021, he may have also been able to snatch the MVP away from Aaron Rodgers. The early Colts of Baltimore shoved their cleats up Dallas's ass and up through the uprights to win Super Bowl V. You'll have one of the greatest quarterbacks in NFL history play for you, and he helped you win a Super Bowl against Rex Grossman and the Bears. Jonathan Taylor looks like the second best running back in the NFL behind Derrick Henry, may actually take over as the league's best if we have a repeat of what happened last year. I don't think there's anything controversial in saying that Jacksonville has only 2 real good things to say about them. Those 2 things being Tony Boselli and the Saxonville defense of 2017. Oh, and they also have one of the best marketing tactics in the NFL.
And now, for the final team in the AFC South. How about those Texans?
J.J. Watt, I guess. David Mills should be good for a long time. I'm sorry, Houston. If y'all had any sort of long history, maybe I can find something. But when your team is younger than me and hasn't done much in that time, there's really nothing of note that can be classified as good.
Next up, we head to the AFC East.
There's only ever been a few true dynasties in the NFL. The Patriots from 2000 to 2019 was certainly something special that may never be repeated again in the NFL. Tom Brady is the greatest quarterback of all time, and that's undisputed. Wes Welker was a stud during his time in New England, and Randy Moss had one of the greatest single seasons for a wide receiver in NFL history on the Patriots. Dan Connolly made all of us fat men proud on a kick return, and what am I forgetting? Oh yeah, of course, Super Bowl 51. Thank you for giving us all in the NFC South a reason to constantly make fun of Atlanta. Starting not with the team itself, but its fans. Seriously, if there's another team fan base in any professional sport as rowdy and passionate as Bills Mafia, please point them out. I'll be right here. Jim Kelly was one of the better quarterbacks of his era. O.J. Simpson was the NFL's best running back in the 70s. And, of course, you housed the league's most legendary beard for 4 seasons, who both helped you get your first win against New England in the years in 2012 and turned into another member in Bills Mafia. Y'all have been very successful under Josh Allen and Sean McDermott and should get a Super Bowl at some point in time. Let's be honest, you guys need a running back? Give Cleveland a call and try and get Kareem Hunt. If it wasn't for you guys winning Super Bowl III, we might not even have the NFL as we know it today. Darrelle Revis was one of the best quarterbacks to ever play in the NFL, shutting down the likes of Calvin Johnson, Randy Moss, Chad Ochocinco, and many other premier NFL receivers in one season. Mercifully, he has a Super Bowl ring to his name after going to New England. Now, hopefully Ahmad Gardner can recreate similar success and follow in his footsteps these next few years with the Jets. Only one team has gone completely undefeated, and the 1972 Dolphins are that team. The likes of Larry Zonka, Dan Marino, and Don Shula are Hall of Famers and have spent much of their careers in South Florida. Their win at New England in 2019, coupled with Tennessee beating them a couple weeks later in the playoffs, helped end the Patriots dynasty and finally bring an end to the evil empire.
Go West, young man. Starting off in Vegas.
It's one thing to have 2 Hall of Fame coaches. It's another to have one coach go on to own your team as conceded for long stretches, and the other coach to single-handedly revolutionize sports broadcasting and sports video games. Charles Woodson could only have been rivaled by Troy Polamalu as the best safety in the NFL during his prime. Derek Carr is one of the most underrated quarterbacks in the league currently, and the entire team fighting through controversy after controversy to make it to the playoffs last year was one of the best storylines to ever come out of the NFL. Let's all hope that their luck turns around this year. 3 words define one of the NFL's best secondaries in the mid-2010s. No fly zone. Chris Harris Jr. along with Aqib Talib were a dynamic duo at their positions, along with Von Miller and DeMarcus Ware leading a defense that allowed only 2 touchdowns in the 2015 playoffs and ultimately to lead the glorious cap to Peyton Manning's career. They also won back-to-back Super Bowls in 1997 and 1998, a feat that hasn't been repeated since the 2003 and 2004 Patriots. Now we have to wait and see if Russell Wilson will get them even remotely close to the playoffs this year. Won Super Bowl in 1970 to give further legitimacy to the AFL. Won Super Bowl in 2019 to officially announce that the Chiefs are back. Tony Gonzalez, Derek Thomas, Patrick fucking Mahomes. That is all. Dan Fouts and Phillip Rivers are the 2 best quarterbacks to have never won a Super Bowl, and both played the majority of their years with the Chargers. LaDainian Tomlinson was one of the most explosive running backs in the NFL and has an MVP to his name. They are also the only team that can claim they had both the number 1 offense and defense in the league in the same season, which happened in 2010. Shame their special teams screw them over. Also, please, football gods, don't let the Chargers QB curse affect Justin Herbert. He is too good and needs to have a Super Bowl ring in his next decade. Please, don't let him have the fate of Rivers. You can't tell the story of the NFL without the man called Vince Lombardi, a coach who has never had a losing season in his career and helped put Green Bay on the map. If the small number of Pittsburgh Steelers coaches during their history is impressive, apply that same logic to the number of Packers starting quarterbacks. In the Super Bowl era, discounting when they got hurt and had backups take over, only 3 quarterbacks have started for the Packers: Bart Starr, Brett Favre, and Aaron Rodgers. 2 of them are Hall of Famers. One of them will be in the Hall of Fame once he retires. And, of course, I can't leave out B.J. Raji doing this in the NFC Championship game.
Big B.J. Raji for the touchdown.
When you talk about the Chicago Bears, you inevitably get to the subject of the 1985 Chicago Bears defense, a defense that only allowed 10 points a game and one loss on the season. Walter Payton is up there with the likes of Jim Brown and Barry Sanders in the list of greatest running backs of all time, and Refrigerator Perry pioneered the big man touchdown. Oh, and Keith Traylor did this.
Look at him rumble. 40, 50. Watch out. The earth is shaking. He's at the 30. He's at the 20. He won't give it up. Oh, my.
Adrian Peterson was one of the best running backs in the NFL for a long time and has the credit of being the last non-quarterback to win the NFL MVP award. They also had a 15-win season in 1998, one of only 6 teams to achieve such a feat. And as a Bucs fan, I personally have to tip my hat to the Vikings for being a gigantic pain in the ass for New Orleans for the past few seasons of the playoffs. God bless Stephon Diggs and Kyle Rudolph. For the Lions, I will leave it to my YouTube editor and self-proclaimed Lions fan, Joy, who knows more about the Lions and has been a fan of the team longer than I have been alive.
Sure thing. I will be more than happy to take this one for you. The Detroit Lions, historically known as the laughingstock of the league, has one of the toughest and most loyal fan bases you will ever meet. I mean, to be fair though, one pride kind of has to be tough to endure the records and heartbreaks like these time and time again. That or we're all just masochists, but that's a thought for another day. However, it hasn't been all doom and gloom for the team. In 1989, the Lions drafted a player who would later become not only the greatest and most recognizable Lion of all time, but also arguably the best running back to ever play the game. Barry Sanders retired early after playing only 10 years, but his impact on the sport was immediate and everlasting, leading the Lions to their only playoff win since 1958 and only his 3rd year. Prior to drafting the GOAT, they also had Billy Sims carrying the rock, who was an amazing and entertaining runner to watch if you're like me and prefer a more smash-mouth style of play that leads to some iconic moments like this. In one final positive point for the team, we have them to thank for making Thanksgiving football what it is today. Though Thanksgiving football dates back to the 1800s officially, it wasn't until the 1930s that the games were aired live thanks to the first Lions owner, George Richards' negotiations with NBC. You're welcome, America.
Thanks, Joy. For those interested, Joy has a YouTube channel is doing a football versus series right now on her channel that anybody can join in before the season starts. I will leave a link to her channel in the description and at the end of the video. Hello, boys. I can go on all day about the Bucs, but I will keep it relatively simple. The Bucs, along with the Baltimore Ravens, are the only 2 teams to be undefeated in multiple Super Bowls. The 2002 defense was the best defense the NFL has ever seen, led by 3, should be 5, Hall of Famers. Mike Allstott was the greatest fullback of his generation, who, along with Rondé Barber, is constantly getting butt-fucked in Hall of Fame voting year after year. Mike Evans is a future Hall of Famer and top 10 receiver in the NFL that's constantly slept on, despite going 8 years straight with 1,000 yards receiving. The only bad thing I have to say about the team is that once Brady leaves, we are fucked. The previously mentioned Dick Shiner was the first quarterback to ever statistically record a perfect passer rating in 1973 versus the New Orleans Saints. Devonta Freeman was one of the better running backs in the 2010s before he forgot how to pass block. Julio Jones was a superstar in his 10 years in the league. And Matt Ryan accomplished a lot with the crappy hands he was dealt in Atlanta. Honestly, I've never felt worse for a receiver than Julio Jones. Hopefully being with the Bucs will get him his long-awaited ring. Same deal as Houston, but I don't have to cherry-pick that much. Cam Newton was electric during his prime, and Steve Smith Sr. will be going into the Hall of Fame at some point. Christian McCaffrey, when healthy, is the best receiving back in the NFL, along with Alvin Kamara. You can argue between the two. And that's basically it. I don't have anything else for Carolina. Sorry, guys. Do I have to do these fuckers, Joy?
Yes.
Yeah?
Yes, you do.
Fuck. Although they have sucked during the majority of their pre-2000 existence, I know, hypocritical coming from the Bucs fan, they had some legitimate units come through in the late 80s and early 90s with the Dome Patrol linebacking core. Once the triple zeros hit the year placement on the calendar, the Saints seemed to have gotten their shit together and began to start really winning. And once Sean Payton came into the organization, it was gold. Going 161 and 97 in his almost 2-decade-long tenure with the Saints, that included a Super Bowl in the 2009 season against the Colts. Drew Brees was an accomplished passer in the NFL during his prime, and somehow never netted an MVP. Marquez Colston was a criminally underrated commodity at wide receiver, even during his peak years of production. Also, Shy Tuttle did this. And that's it. There's absolutely nothing else good I can say about the Saints. Nothing. You can't get any better than 5 Super Bowls, and as insufferable as their fans are, I'll give them credit for being optimistic. Jimmy Johnson, the triplets, Terrell Owens saying this, Larry Allen chasing down an almost pick six, Jason Witten running without his helmet. The amount of things you can say that are good about the Cowboys is potentially bottomless. Although I don't think that good times will last much longer with Jerry Jones seemingly cannibalizing the roster during the offseason. Good luck, boys. Donovan McNabb was great during his tenure with the Eagles and helped them to make the playoffs and won the Super Bowl 8 of his 10 years there. LaShawn McCoy was a stud for the team. You're one of the few teams I could say you've stood up to the evil empire and smashed their face in. The second go-around, at least. Jason Kelce is one of the best centers in the NFL. Jalen Hurts, Devonta Smith, and A.J. Brown should be exciting to watch for the next few years. Now go get that division title, Philly. I'll see your 1 Super Bowl win against New England Philadelphia and raise you 1 more. Not only did the New York Giants win against the Patriots in 2011, but they disrupted and spoiled the Patriots' undefeated season in 2007. Lawrence Taylor and Michael Strahan are some of the best pass rushers to have ever played in the game of football, and Eli Manning is legendary in the Big Apple. Also, this is just an interesting side note, the last white corner to ever start in an NFL game played with the Giants for the bulk of his career. Oh look, most good things on here were before the Dan Schneider era, as should be. Joe Gibbs is easily the best coach the organization has had in their history. The formerly named Redskins mini-dynasty of the mid-1980s and early 90s came away with 3 Super Bowl wins, one of which was won with former Buccaneers quarterback Doug Williams starting for that game. Older Bucs fans told me that at that time it was like how the Lions fans reacted to Stafford winning the Super Bowl after he left home. Alex Smith may have had a brutal ending to his career, but he had one of the greatest comeback stories in the NFL, and we all hoped for that he was going to be the starting quarterback in the 2021 wildcard to give a decent cap to a respectable career. Matt Hasselbeck has one of the greatest sound bites ever in NFL history.
Seattle's won the toss. We want the ball, we're going to score.
Hasselbeck was partly right. One of his passes did lead to a score.
The pass is picked up. Intercepted. Back the other way. The Green Bay Packers advance.
The Legion of Boom was the most dominant secondary in the NFL in the 2010s, and Russell Wilson was probably the best quarterback the Seahawks have ever had in their history. Marshawn Lynch was fun to watch during his time in Seattle, and the Beastquake was an absolutely legendary play in NFL history.
Lynch. Still on his feet. Has blockers now. He's dancing his way for the touchdown.
Sucks that era is now over with Russ going to Denver. Like the Cowboys, they also have 5 Super Bowls to their name and had one of the most successful dynasties in the NFL. Bill Walsh was the greatest coach in their history, and he, along with Joe Montana, Jerry Rice, Steve Young, and Ronnie Lott, are Hall of Famers and some of the best to have ever played the game. Terrell Owens did this.
Owens again heading for midfield. There he goes. There's going to be a penalty on George T because he's going to clock him.
Trent Williams is the best left tackle in the game, and Deebo Samuel is becoming the best offensive weapon in the league. Let's hope that they both come away with a Super Bowl when it's all said and done. How can I say anything good about a team that had no championship since 1940, nor any real success in almost 90 years of existence? Oh, I know, recency. Larry Fitzgerald is one of the best wide receivers for the past decade and a half, and the Cardinals also revived the careers of Kurt Warner and Carson Palmer for a couple of years. Carlin Murray is looking like the real deal, but we'll see how he fares without P.E.D. Hopkins for 6 weeks and Christian Kirk now he's in Jacksonville. James Conner, congratulations on the extension. I hope you succeed and succeed well in Arizona. Kurt Warner, Isaac Bruce, Marshall Faulk, and the rest of the greatest show on turf was the best offense in league history until the 2007 Patriots. They also have 2 Super Bowls to their name, one of which was done by basically saying, fuck the future. Well, who knew that poaching other players from teams for the past couple of years and throwing your first-round picks to the wind could win you a Super Bowl? They'll take it, I guess. And that is basically it. Reminder, I will be making an NFL insult video to offset everything nice I've said and to make everything irrelevant in this video, I guess. I don't know. Thanks again to Joy for filling in for the Lions, and a link for her channel and everything else for her will be in the description at the end of this video. And that's basically it. I hope you guys enjoyed this, and I will see you guys next time. Bye-bye.